I wanted to ask you your opinion on the comparison that Colin Kaepernick has made to for the NFL and the process of the NFL being a comparison to slavery. And so I actually wrote down from the Netflix documentary, Colin Kaepernick says, before they put you on the field, teams poke and prod and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary, respect, no dignity left intact. And then it goes on, the scene transitions to an open market in American slavery's era, where the players are shirtless and shackled and then sold before one of the slave owners as he shakes hand with a football coach, merging past with the present. So I'm trying to keep an open mind about his comparison of the NFL to slavery. I've never been through the NFL process. I played baseball in college, but he's played on the main stage. My gut feeling would be this is way off. There's a lot of things that are obviously much different about players making millions of dollars to perform in the NFL and being physically examined for injuries and things like that, to being physically examined as a slave to then sell and go get crammed on a ship and work in misery for no money. That's my initial reaction. But for you, what do you think when you hear modern day institutions like the NFL and Colin Kaepernick's story being compared to actual slavery that occurred back in the day, the 1700s, 1800s, American transatlantic slavery?
Well, for me, it falls in line with what I've heard. I've heard it. We hear these contemporary invocations, and I honor his experience in hearing that. And then thinking about the world of football in and of itself, this investment in these bodies, that has a whole other sort of connection that only one within that world would know. And then even more, his understanding of history, his identity, and his overall evolution would allow him to begin to see the power of money and then just power itself over and over. Now, that aside or in tandem altogether, hip hop artists continue to invoke where we are in their lives thinking about slavery. So we hear it, but it's sort of, when it's really in your face, almost in a documentary, that's different than hearing Kanye West on his album, where you're hearing, oh, this is like a slave ship. And then people, we're not processing it in the same way, but people they've long been making these arguments like, this is just like slavery. Like, okay, well, what do you know about slavery? How do you understand it? And then, of course, then where are we in our contemporary world? So it makes for necessary conversations in a whole other way. So I salute Colin for being here, and even more, what he's been confronting. But then to go that far to liken it to slavery, that's a deeper understanding of the integration of so many different institutions and systems that, again, fueled by money and there's a larger enterprise that's at work. So it's not about if I agree or don't agree, because I played another type of football, soccer, but
the real football.
The real football.
I can see the visuals, the immediate comparisons that come to mind is the NFL Combine, where you strip down naked and your players examine you, coaches examine you, you perform, and then you sign a contract to go play for a team. So I can see the direct visual, I could, even that to me seems like a stretch, to comparing that to someone on a slave block being ready to be sold. But to me, and again, I have no idea what it's like to be in his situation, but to me, it seems like you're taking the negative things that you've experienced in your career that you've had the power to make decisions on. So you've made choices to pursue a career in football. You were very skilled and you worked to develop those skills. And then you had what I'm sure are bad things and negative consequences that are not entirely created by you. You've had those have been revealed to you within the system of the NFL. And so he's taking his negative experiences that he was able to go through because of the freedom he has to make his choices, and then comparing that to the negative and much more brutal experiences that slaves went through, who did not get there because of their own accord. They weren't allowed to make a choice to get into that particular field. It was, they were kidnapped in the middle of the night. So to me, I could see the stretch visuals of it, but then to liken it to the slave experience is, I don't know. I know too many professional athletes from all different backgrounds that, yes, I know they're treated like shit in many cases, especially minor league baseball players. I'm friends with a lot of minor league baseball players that work for like $600 a month, and it should be better conditions, but I wouldn't compare it to slavery. So again, don't have Colin's experience, don't know what he went through, but that was my immediate take on it.